Hey y'all, so let's shore out this study of Proverbs 31 and that virtuous woman. The last verse, Proverbs 31:31. I don't want to lose my place there. Let's see. And it says, "Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates of the city." The NIV says, "Honor her for all that her hands have done." The HCSB says, "Give her the fruit of her hands" equals the reward of her labor. Give her the reward of her labor. And I think, again, we talked about this week already, that where we are right now and everything that we're doing right now, no matter what our age, really, we are preparing and planting seeds for the next generation. And so we're living with the reward in view, or we're living with the end in sight. You know, Jesus, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross. And so in the midst of it, in the daily grind of it, in some of the difficulty of it, where Satan would press that we get weary in well-doing and give up, we focus on the end. We focus on the reward of our labor, the fruit of our hands, those seeds that produce harvest. I want to read from Matthew chapter 25 and we're going to start in verse 14. And this is a parable of Jesus that you're all familiar with, but it is the parable of the talents. And it says, "For it is like a man who was about to take a long journey, and he called his servants together and entrusted them with his property. To one he gave 5 talents, probably about $5,000, to another 2, and to another 1, to each in proportion to his own personal ability. Then he departed and left the country. When he who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he gained 5 more talents. And likewise he who had received 2 talents also gained 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came and brought him 5 more, saying, Master, you entrusted to me 5 talents. See, here I have gained 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, you upright, honorable, admirable, and faithful servant. You have been faithful and trustworthy over a little. I will put you in charge of much. Enter into and share the joy, the delight, the blessedness which your master enjoys. And he also who had 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you entrusted 2 talents to me. Here I have gained 2 more. His master said the same thing. Well done, you upright, honorable, and admirable, and faithful servant. You have been faithful and trustworthy over a little. I will put you in charge of much. Enter into and share the joy, the delight, the blessedness which your master enjoys. He who had received 1 talent also came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a harsh and hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you had not winnowed the grain. So I was afraid, and went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is your own. But his master answered him, You wicked and lazy and idle servant. Did you indeed know that I reap where I have not sown, and gathered grain where I have not winnowed? Then you should have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received what was my own with interest. So take away the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. This, of course, is talking about what the Father has entrusted to us, and our stewarding it well while while Jesus is going to prepare a place for us, right? And this parable fits so beautifully on top of Proverbs 31. And so this last verse, it says, give her the fruit of her hands, the reward of her labor, and honor her for what her hands have done. In all of these tasks and in all of these intricacies that we have been studying for weeks, and all of the diligence and all of the, sometimes we feel mundane, or all of the unfair, or whatever, all of the responsibility, all of that. I love that it says in verse 15 that each was given in proportion to his own personal ability. So the tasks that are at our hand, the tasks that we have to do, the race that we are to run, the positions that we are called to hold, the people that we are called to be, is in proportion to our ability. It's Christ in us that does the work. And we talked about all of that in this Proverbs 31, that everything that we do comes from him and it flows through us. It's his ability in us. And so we are able to steward well the areas that he's placed us in. And so I want it to be said of me, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over the tasks that I've given you. And so this says, give her the fruit of her hands, the reward, the honor, and then let her own works praise her in the gates. That she again would be known as this virtuous woman. The servants in the master said, enter into the joy, the delight and blessedness which your master shares. And so I want to encourage you as we're closing this study out, that whatever, and one thing that the kids and I have been talking about is the VeggieTales song, to the verse of whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it as unto the Lord. And I'm reading a homeschool book right now. I'm trying to finish before we actually start class, but whatever the task is, whether it's the pile of laundry, whether it's reconciling bank statements, whether it's, talking to customers, whether it's dealing with a strained relationship, whether it's helping out a sick friend, whatever it may be, and whatever Satan tries to beat you over the head with, there's more than enough grace to empower you to send him back to hell where he came from. You are called, you are empowered to be a mighty, virtuous warrior woman. Can we go all the way back there and just remember this virtuous and worthy woman, upright, integrity, excellent, morally righteous, full of substance, abilities and strength, power and might, especially warlike and valor? That's who you are called to be. That's who you were destined to be. That's who Jesus Christ has empowered you to be. Father, help us so that at the end of the day, when the race is done, we can hear you say, well done, daughter. Many, oh, let's go back there. I should not have closed it. Many daughters have done virtuously, nobly, and well, but you excel them all. May we hear those words from our Father. And we will pick up here Monday. Well, I'll see you Monday. We'll start fresh. Bye.